Hi, my name is Mark. I'm one of the pastors here at Trillium. We make no decisions by ourselves. You cannot make decisions by yourself. The only question really is what you choose to make decisions with. And at Trillium, we believe you can either make decisions with idols or you can make decisions with the Holy Spirit. And I heard a story this week. I was reminded of a story that I heard long ago that I think gives a concrete expression to this basic teaching. It goes like this. A bus pulls up in front of a hospital, and a father and two children, young children, get on the bus. And the father goes over to an open seat and plunks himself down, but the two children, the young children, they run up and down the aisle. They're making a real cacophony of noise. They're bumping into people. They're making a real disturbance on the bus. And as the bus is going along, people are waiting for the father to do something, but he seems oblivious to it all. He seems to be lost in his own thoughts. And finally, people start staring at him and looking at him. And in the end, a man who's sitting right behind him leans over and says, "Sir, I can't believe you would let your children behave this way." And the man's disturbed out of his thoughts, his place. He looks around and he goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry. My wife just died." And when that was spoken, one of his children ran over to him and she put her hands on his face and said, "Dad, you told us Mom went to heaven and that everything would be okay." And all of a sudden, there's a stillness through the bus. Total stillness. What happened? What happened in that moment? You know, we talk about making decisions with idols. It's easy to imagine idols, like fancy cars and rich houses and, luxurious holidays and jewelry, kind of the trappings of the world. But I don't think that's always the kind of idols we work with. I mean, when I was 17, I wanted a muscle car. I got a 71 Pinto instead from my parents. It didn't quite match up what my thoughts were. I had dreams of putting a 289 engine into it and getting my muscle car that way, but ultimately the Pinto was so rusted it wasn't worth the effort. But I bought a book about it, and I dreamed about it. And sometimes we dream about the obvious idols. But the idols that we really make decisions with are more subtle. It's the expectations we bring about how children are supposed to behave on a bus, or how parents are supposed to parent, or how people are supposed to behave or act in the moment. Those people on the bus were having a happy moment when that family got on, and then all of a sudden their expectations were disturbed and they gave up their happiness for judgment and condemnation. Jesus today went into the temple. He went right into the temple and he overturned the tables, drove out the dove merchants, got rid of the money changers. He overturns a whole practice of life there. And it says in that moment that the space had been created for people to get healing. You see, the temple was meant to be the one place in Judaism, in the world even, where people would come and they would make decisions with the Holy Spirit. But the temple had become an idol, an end unto itself. And people had forgotten what the purpose of the temple was. And then Jesus overturns everything and space is created. And a lot of people come in and they get healed. Jesus said, this is a house of prayer. It's a house of prayer. It's a house of healing. And that's exactly what happened. You and I, we are blinded by our idols. We become deaf to life through our idols. We even become dumb by the idols that we worship and make decisions with. Makes me wonder what might have happened on that bus if in fact the people on there had been making decisions with the Holy Spirit. They might have noticed where the family was picked up. They may have watched the demeanor of the father and the look on his face. They may have sensed the energy of the children as they ran up and down. They may have been curious about what might have happened in that moment to them. The man who had brought judgment to them, maybe he would have reached over and asked the father, "Are you okay? Did something just happen in your life?" If they were really listening, they may have heard the Holy Spirit speaking the truth to them, the compassion of God's heart for them. The whole world could have been changed in that moment. The whole experience on the bus, the whole moment would have been rewarded with love. That's what we're called for, We can make decisions with idols or with the Spirit. And the choice is yours. The choice is mine. And it begins now.